Welcome to the University of North Dakota's 2021 Spring Commencement Ceremony for the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. This telecast is streaming live from the UND Chester Fritz Auditorium. With safety in mind, only our graduates are seated in the auditorium. We welcome family and friends who are watching online. Dr. Joshua Wynn, Vice President for Health Affairs and Dean of the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, will preside over this ceremony. He will be joined by the President of the University of North Dakota, Dr. Andrew Armacost. Congratulations to all the graduates and their families.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. I am Joshua Wynn, Vice President for Health Affairs at the University of North Dakota, and proud to be Dean of Youre School of Medicine and Health Sciences. On behalf of President Armacost, the University of North Dakota, and the faculty, staff, and students of the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences, it is my privilege to welcome you to the commencement exercises for the graduating medical student class of 2021. To begin today's festivities, Mr. Nick Hacker has sent greetings from the North Dakota State Board of Higher Education. Chair Hacker.
Faculty, staff, family, friends, and most importantly, this graduating class of Fighting Hawks. On behalf of the State Board of Higher Education, I'd like to congratulate you on your achievements. Although you've undoubtedly faced one of the most challenging times of your lives, made more challenging by a global pandemic, here you are at this major milestone. As chairman of the State Board, it's with great pride that we continue to hold these commencement ceremonies where we celebrate all your hard work that's come to fruition. Throughout changing times, we on the board continue to have pride in the accomplishments made by all of UND's employees, because we know their dedication brings results in student success. No matter what path you take now, we are confident that you'll do well because you've proven you can meet the high standards that have been demanded of you here at the University of North Dakota. Whatever your next step, you're moving on from a big phase of your life to new challenges and opportunities. Thank you for placing your trust in our system and UND. We applaud your accomplishments and are confident that the education you've received will give you a competitive edge in your future. Your readiness to take responsibility for yourselves has led to your success here today. Congratulations to this year's University of North Dakota graduates.
Thank you very much, Chair Hacker. To say that this has been an extraordinary past year obviously would be an understatement. You graduating students have persevered in the face of the worst pandemic that has faced the world in over 100 years. And you not only persevered, you excelled. You have shown your true grit and have represented the school and North Dakota with honor and distinction. And even for those of you who are not originally from North Dakota, you carried yourself as North Dakotans, and we are so proud of all of you. Today, almost half the physicians practicing in North Dakota and almost 3/4 of this state's family medicine physicians are graduates of the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences and the residency training programs in the state. We have earned a national reputation for our commitment to rural medicine, and our students are welcomed at some of the most prestigious residency programs in the country. Ultimately, because of you, North Dakotans benefit from accessible, high quality, and affordable health care when compared with most other states. The hopes and promise of the people of North Dakota invested in us more than 100 years ago have been realized, and we look forward to achieving even greater levels of excellence in the next 100 years. Graduating today are 75 young men and women who have reached this point in their lives not only by their own hard work and motivation, but because of the encouragement, support, inspiration, and love from their families and friends. Families and friends, thank you so much for joining us by live stream video link. Students, please join me in acknowledging the sacrifices made by your parents, husbands, wives, children, and others, and who have helped make your achievements possible. I would also like to add a greeting, congratulations, and thanks to all the mothers who are here or are joining us via live stream in honor of Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. You may be interested to know that the students in the graduating class ranged in age from 21 to 41 years upon entering school. They came to medical school from throughout North Dakota and the region, from the state's largest cities to its smallest, from places such as Edgeley, Hankinson, and Webster. Most of you students hold undergraduate degrees in biology or science disciplines, but others have academic backgrounds in areas as diverse as anthropology, business administration, engineering, music, and international studies. Your varied backgrounds in interests, talents, and hobbies have helped to prepare you to be good physicians and will serve you well as you move into your professional careers. The vast majority of the class received one of their top choices for residency training after medical school. Our students will continue their education for at least 3 additional years of training. They are moving on for training in North Dakota, as well as the finest institutions throughout the United States. These graduates will be moving east to the esteemed programs such as the Mayo School of Graduate Medical Education. They will be found also at residencies at the universities of, for example, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Iowa, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New York, Oregon, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, Washington, Wisconsin, and North Dakota. For those of you who are going out of state, we invite you to come back to North Dakota to practice after you finish your residency. Several of the graduates have elected to choose a mentor to list in the program who would normally hood them here on stage. Because of physical distancing requirements, our students have been hooded prior to entering the stage. The names of the mentors for each student are listed in the program. At this time, I would like to recognize several honored faculty members. In large measure, the quality of our medical education program is dependent on the many physicians throughout the state who serve as volunteer faculty mentors. They have added and incorporated this teaching activity into their daily medical practices and welcomed our students to learn from them and their patients. North Dakota is fortunate that a larger proportion of physicians in the state are on our voluntary faculty roster than in any other state in the country. In fact, more than 2 out of 3 of all of the doctors in the state have a clinical faculty appointment at your UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences. The school honors some of these faculty members with the Dean's Special Recognition Award for Outstanding Voluntary Faculty. These individuals have gone above and beyond the call of duty in giving our students, you, the benefit of their time, experience, knowledge, and wisdom gained from years of caring for patients. By example, they have served as superior role models and encouraged our students to define and adopt the highest levels of medical service. Due to the pandemic, these awards will be presented virtually. But it's my great pleasure to present the following volunteers with the Dean's Recognition Award for Outstanding Volunteer Faculty. Dr. Hazrat Khan, Clinical Associate Professor of Internal Medicine. Dr. Peter C. Kernally, Assistant Professor of Internal Medicine. Dr. Wayne Martinson, Clinical Assistant Professor of Psychiatry and Behavioral Science. And Dr. Casey Ryan, Clinical Professor of Internal Medicine. The graduating class also selected the following outstanding physician teachers at each campus. The Northeast campus in Grand Forks chose Dr. James Miles, Clinical Assistant Professor of Neurology. The Northwest Campus in Minot chose Dr. James Schmidt, Clinical Instructor of Family and Community Medicine. The Southeast Campus in Fargo chose Dr. Dane Becker, Clinical Assistant Professor of Neurology. And the Southwest Campus in Bismarck had a tie. The two members who got the award are Dr. Peter White, Clinical Professor of Internal Medicine, and Dr. Isa al-Rabadi, Clinical Assistant Professor of Family and Community Medicine. Congratulations to all of you for the recognition and honor you have received. It is now my honor to introduce our faculty speaker as chosen by the class of 2021, Dr. Walter Kemp. Dr. Kemp is a clinical associate professor of pathology at the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences. He has received several awards of recognition from students, including the Outstanding Teacher Award, the Golden Apple Award, and the Portrait Award. Although Dr. Kemp recently relocated back to his home state of Montana, he wanted to be here in person to share in the celebration. Accordingly, please join me in welcoming Dr. Kemp. Dr. Kemp.
First of all, to my group, sorry I wasn't the best usher there. And President Armacost and Dean Wynn, thank you. We all know that this is not the way you envisioned your medical school's commencement ceremony to occur. I am very glad that you get to receive your diplomas in person and thank President Armacost and Dean Wynn for working with members of your class who made this possible. I do wish that your families could be here with you, though. To the class of 2021, you have many excellent physician role models and other well-qualified individuals to choose from, but you chose me to give your commencement speech, and for that, I am very highly honored. As you may know, I was asked to be the commencement speaker for the last 2 years, and to be asked a third time is an incredible honor and was a very pleasant surprise. As with the classes of 2019 and 2020, I feel that I have a strong connection to your class, and I will always look at the opportunity that I had to teach you as a significant and positive portion of my career. All I can say is thank you for the privilege to address you today. This is equally the greatest honor ever bestowed upon me. Dr. Mitch Messner graduated with the class of 2019. Without going into details, we met briefly when he was a first-year medical student, and then later I saw him again. He remembered me and remembered my name, but I did not remember his name, because at the time I concentrated mostly on learning the second-year medical students. When I did not remember his name, he said, "That is okay, I am just a medical student." That comment really struck me. I would never want a student of mine to think that they were just a medical student to me. So I would like to acknowledge members of the class. This is my way of telling all the parents, grandparents, spouses, brothers and sisters, and friends that you were never medical students number 1 through 75 for me, but instead individuals who I was privileged to work with. I hope these examples show that I truly saw each of you as a person and not just a nameless face in the Friday TBL crowd, and that I do very much value the lessons I learned from each of you and the gestures you made toward me. Some of these are professional, some of them are personal. They do not represent the sum total of everything you are or what I know about you. But I just want to show them that you meant something to me. First of all, I just want to say in a very positive way that I think the entire town of Manville remembers my name thanks to your class. Alexander, as president of your class, I want to thank you for your role in getting me here today to speak to your class. Elena, Kaylee, Mary, Heather Kaluzniak, thank you for working with the school to get an in-person graduation for your class. Brenna, thank you for being one of the few students who took the time to review the old gross pathology specimens. I am glad that helped with step one. Mary, in addition to being a great student, you are also a fantastic planner and preparer. I know your class has benefited from your being here, and so will all future groups in which you are a part. Cassie Cambites and Kinsey, you represented us well at the National Association of Medical Examiners annual meeting. Thank you. And Cassie, I think your paper was the quickest I ever had from submission to acceptance. Excellent work. Heather Kaluzniak and Kinsey, Rome and I both really appreciated your kind comments regarding our teaching in Block 6. But I hope you both fully realize that your success was completely your own doing and not ours. Natalie, thank you for attending reviews, going through the gross pathology specimens, and writing the case report with me. I hope the third revision will do it. The first revision should have been enough. I wish I could have spent the forensic month teaching you, but sorry, I had to go back to Montana. I know you will be a wonderful pediatrician, and I'm sorry I had 3 times where I got your name wrong today, but trying to think about the speech and everything like that, I just want to make sure I do a good job. My mind was elsewhere. I apologize. John Pasella, I admire your courage for standing up to your fellow students. I admire your courage for standing up for your fellow students at committee meetings. For what it matters, I thought you offered a well-worded and reasonable change to the curriculum. I wish more attention had been given to you. Pranish, thank you for always supporting my teaching efforts. You are a positive influence on me, and I am very glad you achieved your career goal and matched into neurosurgery. Kaylee, when I attended your first second-year picnic, you spent a significant amount of time talking with me. I really appreciated that. It made me feel welcome. Thank you. Elena, Hallie, Alexis, Andrew Herding, Heather Bruggeman, and Patrick, and everybody else, thank you for attending our pathology reviews. Without your participation, they would never have worked well. Quincy and Anna, I enjoyed being able to work with you on the forensic rotation. I thought you both exemplified the idea of teamwork. And Quincy, I can commiserate with you that it is a long and very non-scenic drive from Grand Forks to northwestern Montana along Highway 2. Molly, I was very honored when you asked me to sign a copy of my McGraw-Hill book for your sister's birthday. I was happy to see you matched at Mayo. Cassandra Ballantyne, thank you for the very nice comment regarding my first commencement speech. I hope this one works as well. Allie, please keep up your enthusiasm for teaching. You are excellent, and your future students will benefit greatly from your efforts. Tyler, Taylor Carruthers, Sarah Schaefer, Melissa, Marley, and Hannah, thank you for a wonderful PCL experience. John Pasella, Heather Bruggeman, Marley, and Kinsey, although I never participated in the Teddy Bear Clinic, I always saw the t-shirts and knew it was something special. Great job in helping to organize that. John, I am anxiously awaiting news of the Gangelhoff procedure. Brooke, I hope you enjoy Billings, and I look forward to the chance to see you there sometime. Michael Storant, that you have helped so much with Special Olympics is amazing. That is a wonderful and very altruistic act. The picture of you giving the Special Olympics athlete a high five with the smile on your face truly warmed my heart. I realize I know a lot less about you than I should. I know you will be a compassionate and caring physician. Lakshmi, Rachel, Christopher Walden, Rebecca, congratulations on your match results. I won't consider it a failure that none of you matched in pathology. I tried. I guess I am not much of a recruiter. I enjoyed working with all of you. Heather Kaluzniak, I believe that I owe you $20 for that bet that I made you lose, and I never would have learned as much about Hirano bodies if you hadn't asked me the question. Audrey, from asking me questions about anatomy and anatomy lab, to learning about pathology, to discussing the school policies, you always trusted me. I hope I always lived up to that trust. I always enjoyed our conversations. Andrew Obritz, thank you for confirming my suspicions that there are no classic autoimmune diseases of the ovary, and I always enjoyed our talks. Scott, I can share with you the fun of getting a Prius stuck in 1 inch of snow. Molly and Kinsey, thank you for the nice photo of the cardiomyopathy that you gave me to remind me to always keep teaching. When I recorded this lecture, it was on the shelf behind me. It will be in my office very soon, and I promise that I will always continue to teach. Brett, Christopher Walden, Marissa, Megan, Alexis, Arna, Tyler, and Bethany. Raising children is a challenge. Completing medical school is a challenge. You all did both. Amazing. I could never have done what you did. Leo, one of my best friends was born without his right lower extremity below the knee, so I can appreciate some of the challenges you have faced. That you are here today shows that you met these challenges and did not let them slow you down. I greatly admire that. Sarah Lewis, Bradley, and Ken, it was nice to share a Montana connection with you all, and I don't think anyone else has ever correctly identified the photo from Bozeman. Michael Serjans, Matthew Gerenz, Christian, and Riley, I just remember you all so well, but I am sorry, I could not recall any specific event to talk about here. But please just remember that you four always made me feel very welcome as one of your faculty. Zachary Schmies, from discussions about the return of the emperor to letting the PA students know that Rome and I are the ones taking all the Diet Dr. Pepper, I always enjoyed our conversations. And of course, I enjoyed the ones about pathology too. Thank you. Christopher Zumwalt, I know it doesn't mean much, but I always link you with Dr. Ross Zumwalt, one of the giants in forensic pathology. I assume you will go on to just as memorable of a career as he did. Christy, thank you for following me on Twitter. Like your mom, my mom also taught special education, and like you, I'm a first-generation physician. But I know that we had much different hurdles in our life. I know you will be a great family physician. And if you ever want a new diamond art for relaxation, just email me your address in Oklahoma and I will send you one. The Boba Fett one was great. Many of you attended autopsy. Thank you. These included Taylor Volberding, Rakan, Austin, Logan, Marissa, Connor Schweitzer, Matthew Soderberg, Maddie, and many others. Also, Taylor, Allie, and Sarah Schaefer, I enjoyed the comment that your autopsy experience made you realize that Meckel's diverticulum existed outside of Dr. Tesma's lecture. And Mary, Maddie, and Hallie, I love the photos of the dogs. Noel, your receipt of the Kevin Monk Award from your classmates says a great deal about you. I have no doubt that you will carry on those characteristics into your career as a physician. And my apologies it took me so long to get your name correct. Lynn, I will always consider it an honor that I got to help teach a world-class ice dancer. I myself can just barely roller skate. Nevin, I was honored that you asked me, one of the pathology faculty, to help you learn some histology during your first year. Crystal, Matthew Jacobson, Caitlin, Danielle, Lane, Andrea, Marcos, and Dre. Whether you attended my lectures or reviews, observed an autopsy, were on a committee with me, or just said hello to me in the hallway, you always made me feel welcome as one of your faculty. Megan, I think one student reminds me each year that they learned pathology from me, even though I never saw them in my lectures or reviews. You did that in a very kind way when you introduced me to your mother when your class was in Manville, and I just wanted to truly thank you for that. Connor Baker, in my 5 years at UND, I only had one fourth-year student on the med ed rotation attend my PCL. You did an excellent job, and I enjoyed being able to work with you. Zoe, I remember your service day presentation for the chemistry club with second graders. I hope you will always continue to teach, and you'll always find it rewarding. Thomas Paul, Zach, I apologize that I never got that material for the paper to you. I have to say, you share two characteristics with my wife's brother. Number one, you look very similar to him, which always helped me remember you. And number two, like him, I am certain you will make great contributions to your field and your community. Heather, Kaluzniak, and Noel, you both did excellent work starting the Out of the Darkness Suicide Awareness Walk. As a forensic pathologist, I know how important this work is that you did. Thank you. Heidi Johnson, I so greatly admire your persistence, dedication, and hard work. Thank you for allowing me to take part in your successful path to become a doctor. I am very proud of you. And if you ever want to write that anthropology article, I will be around. Melissa, thank you for sharing those cases with me during your third and fourth year rotations. And I will always remember how you knew the diagnosis in PCL well before your fellow students, even though you wanted to retract your answer after you gave it. Congratulations on your match results. Please always have faith in your abilities. I know I will. Kinsey, I think you attended most all of my pathology lectures and pathology reviews, 3 autopsies. You examined all the old pathology specimens at least once. You presented a poster at NAME and won the Best Student Award, and you helped me revise my McGraw-Hill pathology review book. I think that is the perfect setup to become a pathologist. And you matched into OB-GYN. And all I can say is how very proud of you I am. You will be an excellent physician, and I wish you, Dan, and Winter the best of luck in Tulsa. I hope you will always retain your interest in pathology. So why did you ask me to give your commencement speech? I can list all 6 bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back. I know the real way that Thanos acquired the Infinity Stones, and I can drive a Prius all while listening to Iron Maiden, Twisted Sister, Judas Priest, or Slayer. I don't think that's why you chose me. I don't think it is because I am from Montana. It is not because I am famous or well-known. You all successfully got Dr. Glaucoma to fill that role. And I just think it is so neat that you reached out to him and that he responded. It is not because I am the best physician role model. Many of you are going into pediatrics. In the NICU and medical school, I was afraid to pick up the kids because I thought I'd break them. Many of you are going into surgery. I don't have the confidence or skills necessary to be a surgeon. If you wanted to hear about COVID-19, you would have asked for Dr. Fauci. If you wanted to hear about social justice, you would have asked for past President Obama. So why me? The only reason that I can see that you gave me the honor of being your commencement speaker is that I somehow earned your respect and you saw in me traits that you admired. This is my last chance to teach you, so I'm going to talk about the 5 traits that I think that I possess that caused you to choose me as your commencement speaker. I won't say I perfectly model these traits all the time, that is for sure. But trait number 1, respect everyone as equals. How do I think I do this? First, learn everyone's name that you work with. Consistently in the medical student reviews of me, that I do this is frequently praised, oftentimes above all else. Learning people's names works wonders. It shows them you care. Second, don't get too caught up with your title. I told you about Dr. Beckwith, a literal giant among physicians who would not talk to me unless I called him Bruce. He said everyone called him Bruce, from clinicians to medical students and residents to custodial staff and others. Following in the steps of a giant in medicine, I hope you will all call me Willie, finally. And last but not least, there's a quote I will always remember. The graveyard is full of indispensable men. The correct version, of course, would be indispensable people. But remembering that quote always helps me maintain perspective. Remember, none of us are indispensable. One other one I thought to add is that compliments are free and the results are priceless. Compliment others. Trait number 2, admit you don't know everything and listen to others when they identify an error. I think most of my lecture errors were caught by the classes of 2018, 2019, and 2020, although I know you guys caught a few in there. But when a student presented an error to me, I always listened and I tried to fix it. One of the best lessons I have ever learned in my life was to listen to other people. I am very opinionated, if you haven't noticed, and I have found that often people have a different opinion than my own, and I have come to realize that often their opinion was better. Trait number 3, keep on learning. I believe I told you the story about during residency when I was asked to name a structure, and I think the motor pathway, and I named not only the wrong structure, but the wrong pathway. I've come a long way since then, but I still need to learn. If you asked me a question in a lecture that I did not know, I tried to learn the answer and get back to you. Keep on learning. Trait number 4, be enthusiastic. I cannot teach you how to do this, and if you are faking it, people will know. But find something in medicine that you truly love and show that to others. Don't tell them. Trait number 5, always do more than is required of you. I wish that was my quote, but it wasn't. General Patton said it long before I did, but I think it's the best principle to live by. My example is this. In Dallas, as here, I gave optional reviews for the medical students and other activities. One of the microbiologists noticed, and when McGraw-Hill called him up looking for a pathologist to write a book, he recommended me. If I hadn't stood out, that never would have happened. No one told me to give you reviews. No one told me to learn your names. I just thought that was the right thing to do. And I truly believe that if I had not done those things, that I would not be standing before you today. I would have been just another lecturer, albeit with some neat Montana and Scotland photos. At our senior colloquium, we had a week of various lectures on various topics, and I only remember one sentence when the infectious disease doctor said, "Don't let me die without giving me doxycycline." That is the only sentence I remember. So if you remember one thing from my speech today, one thing that I've ever taught you, remember that. Always do more than is required of you. I promise you that if you follow this one idea, people will notice. When I originally gave this speech, my wife Kelly had some excellent suggestions. One is always remember where you came from and who supports you. I think this has 2 meanings. Becoming a doctor is tough, but people helped us, and they will be there for you again if you need them. But also, even though becoming a doctor is tough, your patients often have it much tougher. One of my best friends from growing up, and to this day, is Brian Kiefer. Brian was born with multiple congenital anomalies and has a set of medical records that would probably fill a studio apartment. I think I said it best when I acknowledged Brian in my book. To my good friend Brian Kiefer, for showing me how an individual can persevere in the face of real and not imagined hardship, and that all the rigors of becoming a doctor are truly an imagined hardship when compared to the challenges others face. Medical school was tough, but so is being a patient. Each time you take a history, do a physical exam, run a test, or perform a procedure, your patient is relying on you to have their best interest in mind, and I trust that each of you will always do that. Kelly's last idea that 2 transitions are occurring today. Number 1, I'm transitioning from your teacher to your fan as I watch you go out in the world and do good things. I truly believe that each and every one of you has the potential to do great things, and I hope you will all achieve that potential. I am so happy for you, but sad to see you go. I will miss you. I wish you all the best of luck. I hope some of you return to North Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, Wyoming, or wherever you are from. But most of all, I just hope you find the right place. I do hope that you will always still consider me your teacher. If you ever need my help in the future, I'd be more than happy to assist in any way I can. But even if you never do, I will still always feel so greatly honored to have had the privilege to teach you all one last time. Today, the day of the most important transition, the day you went from being medical students to doctors. Thank you.
Well, Willie, thank you so much for those wonderful comments. You know, I've been a doctor for a long time, and that's sage advice even now when I'm seeing patients. So I'll keep your good comments in mind. Thank you again, Willie. Now, please let me introduce TikTok and Twitter sensation Dr. Will Flannery. You invited him, as you know, he is a practicing ophthalmologist, writer, and comedian who moonlights in his free time as Dr. Glaucoma. Dr. Flannery has provided us with this recorded greeting. Dr. Glaucoma.
Congratulations to the graduates of the University of North Dakota School of Medicine. I'm Dr. Glaucoma. Very shortly, you'll have your medical degrees in hand and you'll be off to begin your residencies in ophthalmology. I am so excited. What's that? Yeah, I'm giving the commencement address right now. Yeah, that's right. What? Yeah, of course they're all going into ophthalmology. Why would you guys, could you just hold on just a second? No, I don't know that for sure. I'm just saying, why would you choose some other specialty when you know that ophthalmology exists? Yeah. You're telling me that some of these graduates actually decided under their own power to go into something like general surgery over ophthalmology? Really? Okay, all right. Sorry about that. It has been brought to my attention that there's a small chance that not all of you have chosen a career in ophthalmology. In hindsight, which by the way is the second most important kind of sight, it seems silly that I would assume all 70-something of you would have applied to ophthalmology. There's only like 150 ophthalmology residency spots per year, so it doesn't really make sense for 50% of those spots to be filled by a single med school in North Dakota. So that's my bad. In light of this new revelation, I do need to adjust my speech here. I need to skip over a few sections. So if you just bear with me for a moment. Let's see. Top 10 favorite things about the eye exam. No. How to avoid responding to in-flight medical emergencies. That's not good. My 15-step master plan to take down Visine. Okay, you know what? Let's just, we're just going to start over. Let's just start over. How about this? Congratulations, graduates. I want to thank you for inviting me to speak to you all today. It is truly an honor. I want to take a moment right here at the beginning to acknowledge what you all have accomplished just to get to this point, because it really is remarkable. As first years, you got through basic science, all right? You learned the Krebs cycle, you immediately forgot the Krebs cycle, and then you learned it again, all right? Then you mastered human anatomy and physiology, learning about all the structures in and around the eye and other body parts, presumably. In second year, you learned pathophysiology. You went through all the organ systems, contractility, preload, afterload, the other loads. You passed step 1 and successfully navigated your love-hate relationship with USMLE World. Your third year got off to a great start. All right, you were finally able to apply what you learned in your preclinical years to your clinical rotations. But then your year was interrupted by COVID. Despite the challenges that came with the pandemic, all right, you continued to learn and excel. You overcame those challenges. And then fourth year came along, the best year in med school. The promises of interview season with cross-country travel, fancy dinners, hospital tours. It was all replaced with virtual interviews. Sure, you got to interview without pants on, but at what cost? You had to make a rank list without seeing any programs in person. Nevertheless, you matched, and now you're all going to be doctors. So please feel proud of what you've done and what you've accomplished and what you've overcome, because it really is very impressive. Now, because this is a commencement address, I'm supposed to inspire you all to go take your MD degrees and go out and make a difference in the world, to change medicine. All right, but here's the problem. What have I done? Like, who am I to tell you to go out and change medicine? I haven't been practicing medicine for 30 years. You know, I graduated med school 8 years ago. That's barely a neurosurgery residency. I haven't changed medicine. I haven't published any groundbreaking research or any research. I'm not an academic practicing at a prestigious university. I'm not considered a key opinion leader in my field, but I have survived the last 8 years. I survived intern year, including a rotation in the ICU, the most feared place among ophthalmologists. I survived residency. I survived my first few years out in practice. I survived cancer. I survived cancer again. I survived a cardiac arrest. And while publishing in the New England Journal is a wonderful goal to have, it's okay if you just want to make it through residency, if you just want to survive. Because there will be times during intern year when just getting through your 4th straight night shift in the ICU seems a lot harder than winning a Nobel Prize. So, no, I can't sit here and impart wisdom of a doctor twice my age, but I can give you a few tips about how to survive and how to thrive in your first 8 years after med school. So here we go. Number 1, let your future med students go home early. Never forget what it's like to be a med student. Keep that perspective with you for a long time. You have to take some kind of test every 3 days. Remember that. Let your med students go home early to study. Set the example for how to treat med students as a resident and as an attending. Recognize a good learning opportunity versus a bad learning opportunity. Sending the med student off to do an H&P, good learning opportunity. Having the med student stand silently in the corner watching you chart, bad learning opportunity. Release your students before they even have a chance to say, is there anything else I can do for you? Next tip, get disability insurance right now. As soon as that first paycheck comes in the mail, first you celebrate because that's a momentous occasion. But then get yourself some disability insurance. Right? When I was a 3rd-year med student, I woke up one morning and I felt a lump in my testicle. Now, I didn't know a whole lot of medicine at that point, but I knew that my testicle wasn't supposed to try to grow another testicle. The human body didn't do that. I knew that. So I went in, I got it checked out, and sure enough, diagnosed with a seminoma. Now, fortunately, it was easily treatable with surgery. But when I got to residency and I did what everybody told me to do, go out and get disability insurance, no company would touch me. Right? As soon as they saw the word cancer in my record, that was it. It was all over for me. Nothing is guaranteed in life, especially your health. You all feel invincible now. You're all young, but that can very quickly be taken away from you. Protect yourself. Protect your livelihood. Very important for physicians. Go get yourself some disability insurance. Next tip, never apologize for calling a consult, especially if the person you're talking to is an ophthalmologist. All right, more often than not, the first thing I hear when I get on the phone with an intern or a resident is some form of, hey, really sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. You guys, I'm watching Netflix, okay? You're taking time away from patients to call me. I'm sitting up in bed and hitting the pause button, right? If a consultant gets mad at you for asking for help, that's on them. That's not on you. If you need help to take care of a patient, you ask for help. Right? Don't ever feel bad. Don't ever apologize for calling a consult. Next tip, the hospital pharmacist is your best friend. They will always, until the end of time, know more about medications than you. And here's the thing, they're always happy to help. They're wonderful people. So when you get to intern year and you're putting in that first medication order and you're sweating a little bit and you're kind of shaking, all right, the hospital pharmacist will be there to reassure you that you won't kill a patient with 650 milligrams of Tylenol. Everyone's going to be fine. No one's going to die from that, okay? They're going to be fine. Trust me. Talk about your mistakes. When you get to intern year and residency and you make mistakes, because you will make mistakes, all right, talk about them. Tell your co-residents, talk to your attendings. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk through it. When you talk about your mistakes and your complications, you realize something incredible. You're not the only person who's made that mistake. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. Everybody in medicine makes the same mistakes over and over again since the beginning of time. By opening up about your mistakes, you can arrive at a very important conclusion, especially early in your career, that you're still a good doctor. That even though you made a mistake, you're still a good doctor. And that mistake is going to turn you into a better doctor down the road. So talk about it. Next tip, learn how to ask for help. When I was a senior resident, I woke up one morning, it's like deja vu, I felt a lump in my other testicle. Turns out I was part of the lucky 1% of testicular cancer survivors who get it in the other testicle. At this point, I was a PGY4 in ophthalmology, so I was quickly forgetting all my below-the-neck medicine, but I had been through this before, so I knew what was going on right away. I was the day call for a level 1 trauma center that day when I felt that lump, which means I was carrying the pager for every ophthalmology emergency that came in to our very busy emergency department. And it was always busy. It was always going off. But there's one thing that medicine doesn't teach you. It doesn't teach you how to call in sick. It doesn't teach you how to take the day off when you need it. We are conditioned to value our jobs above ourselves, above our health, above our families. So there I was, pager going off like crazy, trying to carve out 30 minutes to head down to radiology so I could get an ultrasound that would tell me what I already know, that I have cancer. And as I was walking out of radiology, having just received the news, I get a page. A patient in the emergency department with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Now, I should have reacted to that situation by acknowledging that I can't do my job right now. I need help. But my warped medicine brain told me, no, I need to go finish my shift. Then I'll go tell my family I have cancer. In the end, I never went to see that patient, though. I broke down and started crying before I ever got to the emergency department. I called one of the fellows in my department and told him what was going on, a good friend of mine. And he took the pager from me and he just told me to go home. We can't take care of patients if we can't take care of ourselves. Ask for help when you need it. One of the great things about residency is that your co-residents and fellows are like family. The people in your department, you spend so much time with these people. They're like family. And just like family, you rely on each other. You support each other. You see, things start happening in your life in your late 20s and early 30s. Big life events. You get married. You have kids. Your family members get sick. Maybe you get sick. People die. People get divorced. There's a good chance that either you or one of your co-residents will have a life crisis completely unrelated to medicine. Residency is hard enough, and then you add things like that on top of it. Be there for each other. Help each other. Right? Please ask for help when you need it, because at some point you will need it. My next tip, tell everybody you know to learn CPR. Now, a lot of you probably know this story already. In May of 2020, I had a cardiac arrest in my sleep. My wife woke up at 4:30 in the morning, and I was gasping for breath. She called 911 and ended up doing 10 minutes of chest compressions. Now, she's not in medicine. She had never done chest compressions before, so the dispatcher at 911 walked her through it, and she did 10 minutes. Now, I'm an ophthalmologist. I don't have the opportunity to do chest compressions very often. When I do, that means something has gone horribly wrong in the eye clinic. But I do remember what 2 minutes of chest compressions feels like. It feels like an eternity. It's physically demanding. It's exhausting. I can only imagine what 10 minutes of chest compressions is like. I don't know how she did it, but it saved my life. The statistics of an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest are not good. 1 in 10 make it. 1 in 10. If somebody knows CPR and starts performing it immediately, the survival goes up to 3.5 out of 10. That's incredible. And that just goes to show you that everyone should know CPR. I don't care who you are. If you're capable physically of doing it, everybody should know it. And it's mind-boggling to me now. It's been a year since my cardiac arrest. And it's still mind-boggling to me that I was married for 10 years. And I never once thought to myself, maybe I should get my wife trained in CPR. Never occurred to me. I guess I always just assumed, hey, I'd be there to do it if we needed it. I was the one that needed it. That didn't help. So talk to your friends, talk to your family members, especially those who are not in medicine. All of you know CPR. Talk to the people in your life that are not in medicine and tell them how important it is, because it is easy to do, to learn, and it can save someone's life. My next tip, educate yourself about health insurance. There are 2 ways to learn about health insurance in this country, all right? Have a health crisis and go through it yourself. I don't recommend that. I've done that. It is not a fun time, all right? Or you can just take the time to learn about it yourself. Deductibles, coinsurance, out-of-pocket maximums, in-network, out-of-network, surprise billing. There is so much out there that our patients have to navigate. Learn about it yourself, and then talk about insurance with your patients. Be comfortable talking about these terms and what it might mean for the patients down the road. Because recovering from a medical illness is one thing, physically, right? But people who undergo significant medical care often face financial ruin down the road after they've recovered physically. That is a monumental mental and emotional toll that it takes on patients to have to deal with the possibility of financial devastation just because you got sick. So feel comfortable talking about insurance with your patients, educate yourself, and advocate for your patients. And then my last tip for you before you finish graduation, keep doing non-medicine things. All of you put non-medicine things on your applications to get into med school. The majority of you claim you like hiking, okay? So continue hiking, all right? Keep doing the things outside of medicine that make you a well-rounded, interesting individual. I did stand-up for a long time before I got into med school, but when I got to med school, I stopped doing stand-up comedy. And it was missing in my life. It didn't feel good. When I got cancer, I got back into it. And it made me feel better. It helped me process some of the things that were going on in my life. All of us have things that we're interested in outside of medicine. Hold on to those things, all right? Don't let medicine take over your life, because it can very easily take over your life. Medicine will always be a huge part of your life. Maybe even the biggest part of your life, but don't let it be your entire life, all right? Do those things that make you who you are, all right? It's easy to get away from those things in training because you're so busy, but try even just a little bit every so often. Go out and do those other non-medicine things, all right? It's going to help. It's going to help with protecting you against burnout. It's just going to make you happy. So congratulations again to all the graduates. I wish you all the best of luck in your careers in whatever specialty you choose. Ophthalmology or non-ophthalmology. They're all great. So best of luck to you and take care.
Wow. You know, when I heard that you were inviting him, I thought, oh, yeah, this will be good. I'll learn something. It'll be funny. I had no idea how profound the discussion would be. Can you imagine that? Not 1, but 2 episodes of cancer, and then a cardiac arrest. and he talks about it and shares it. The class showed remarkable insight in inviting him. I think even those of us who aren't graduating today were moved by his remarks, and I think his advice was really good. So congratulations to the class for inviting someone who provided such insightful and thoughtful comments. Well done. Will the graduates please rise for the pledging of the Oath of Hippocrates, which is printed in the program. I would also invite any of the other physicians in attendance or watching our live stream who would care to do so to rise as well and join us by re-swearing the pledging of the oath. Colleagues, please take the oath with me at this time. Today, in the presence of family, friends, teachers, and colleagues, I dedicate myself to the profession of medicine. I pledge myself to the service of humanity. I will use my skills to care for all in need, without bias and with openness of spirit. The health of my patients will be my first concern. I vow to hold sacred the bond between doctor and patient. I will hold in confidence all that my patients entrust to me. I will strive to alleviate suffering. I will respect the dignity and autonomy of my patients in living and in dying. As a physician, I recognize my duty to society. I will work to promote health and prevent disease. I will advocate for the welfare of my community. Even under duress, I will not use my knowledge or my skills against humanity. I will acknowledge my limitations and my mistakes so that I may learn from them. To uphold these responsibilities, I will maintain my own well-being and the well-being of those close to me. I will promote the integrity of the practice of medicine. In the tradition of my profession, I honor all who teach me this art. Through honest and respectful collaboration with my colleagues, I will uphold the highest standards in the service of patients. I will seek new knowledge, re-examine ideas and practices of the past, and teach what I have learned. Above all, the health of my patients will be my first concern. This oath I take freely and upon my honor. I would ask the graduates to remain standing. President Armacost.
The candidates for the degree in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences will be presented by Dean Wynn.
President Armacost, these candidates have completed all of the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Medicine. I, therefore, have the honor of presenting them to you for the conferring of this degree.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the North Dakota State Board of Higher Education, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Medicine with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Students, please be seated and move in the direction of the marshals.
"75 candidates qualify to receive their degrees today. Before crossing the stage, each student's picture and practice specialty will appear on the screen. Students who are not present will also have their pictures shown. After candidates are given their diplomas, They will step to center stage and pose for a graduation picture with President Armacost and Dean Wynn. Our first candidate is Connor Baker. Cassie B. Ballantyne. Molly M. Benyolkin. Tyler T. Bilbin. Heather A. Bruggeman. Alexander L. Bukals. Michael A. Serjants. Taylor E. Crothers. Elena J. Danielson. Kaylee A. Doctor. Rakan Dodine. Scott Doheny. Rebecca B. Dravland. Bethany M. Erickson. Brenna M. Espelin. Brooke T. Fettig. Marley J. Furch. John V. Gangelhoff. Matthew W. Garenz. Nevin Gillis. Andrew C. Herding. Austin J. Hewitt. Crystal J. Hudson. Mackenzie A. Jackson. Matthew L. Jacobson. Mary E. Johansson. Heidi M. Johnson. Melissa L. Johnson. Heather L. Kaluzniak. Cassandra J. Cambites. Pranish Kantak. Christy Joy Kingfisher. Lynn Krinkreirut. Megan A. Krotzer. Hannah Kruger. Christian Coolish. Audrey R. Lane. Sarah Susan Lewis. Brett G. McLeod. Alexis A. Malater. Madeline L. Mangan. Natalie R. McIntyre. Riley A. Moore. Arna Katura Mora. Marcos Antonio Moreno. Andrew Obrich. Leo Patrick O'Day III. Jonathan C. Pasella. Quincy M. Payne. Sri Lakshmi Pangini. Thomas Zachary Paul. Marissa C. Pinto. Caitlin R. Ruark. Rachel C. Sacre. Daniel J. Saylor. Zoe E. Saylor. Sarah Schaefer. Logan C. Schmaltz. Zachary S. Schmies. Anastasia M. Schroeder. Connor J. Schweitzer. Matthew T. Soderberg. Dre E. H. Steinware. Michael H. Storant. Andrea M. Taborski. Patrick K. Tamakong. Kenneth E. Tharp. Hallie B. Thompson. Noel P. Torrance. Allie G. Trudell. Lane P. Wenzel. Taylor R. Volberding. Christopher D. Walden. Bradley C. Walker. Christopher M. Zumwalt.
I do feel like we should wait for Christopher Zumwalt to make it back in before we say anything. Here he comes, so be patient. As he walks in, we'll make sure we give each of you a round of applause again. we go, a couple more. It's like waiting for people to show up to class. Christopher, that's you. Awesome, good. Hey, everybody, give yourselves another round of applause on this big day. And I can hear your family members and friends clapping through over the internet because I know how proud they are of each of you. And Kathy and I give you our heartfelt praise and gratitude on this important occasion. And, I was thinking as I was listening to Willie and Dr. What's his name? On the video? Glockenspiel? Anyhow, their words really struck a chord with me. They're both from your field, however, and I'm not. So I think it's important for me to just share a few thoughts on what this day means to you as you think about a person like me, your patient. And you heard great advice, and all the advice that you were given really focused on the human aspect of your profession, taking care of humans and taking care of yourselves, taking care of each other. And interestingly, as I was driving down University Avenue today, I listened to classic vinyl on Sirius XM typically, and a song came on by Joe Cocker. I get by with a little help from my friends. And if there's one message that you might have taken today from these two great speakers, it's rely on each other. The people here in this room, throughout your careers, make new colleagues who will also look out for you and your patients, and reach out to them on professional matters and personal matters as well. And when I hear the Hippocratic Oath, this is actually the first time I ever read the Hippocratic Oath was this week in preparation for my comments today. And what struck me was I always thought it was as characterized on ER or on Quincy MD or one of these old shows. The Hippocratic Oath means do no harm. And I realized as I reflected upon that oath, it's a sacred oath. It's one of the ethic of your profession. It's about you taking care of other people as human beings, not just the mechanics, right? So I heard a reference to the Krebs cycle, and I always like to ask aspiring medical students how many ATPs net come out of the Krebs cycle, and they stare at me blankly, and I don't think anyone has ever given me the same answer. Maybe you know, but as Dr. on the video shared, you learn it, you forget it, you learn it, you forget it. I think what you remember are the big things. But I'm always amazed at the processes that go on in this thing we call our human bodies, whether it's how the thyroid works and that feedback loop that happens, how cardiovascular. I just admire Josh because of all that he does to solve people's issues with their hearts. And you're going to choose your profession, whether it's family medicine, whether it's pathology, whether it's ophthalmology, whether it's neurology or neurosurgery. You're going to choose a way to understand that system as a true expert to take care of the human beings. And yes, it's about those systems, but it's so much more. And I challenge you to keep reflecting upon that Hippocratic Oath. If I were you, and I'm not, I would keep a copy at whatever desk I work at so that I can look at it at the start of every day and remind myself about what it means to be a physician and what it means to take care of other people. And I know this foundation of what it means to take care of other people is laid by our wonderful School of Medicine and Health Sciences and the faculty members and the staff members who have supported you along the way. So why don't you show them a round of your appreciation for everything that they've done for you. Round of applause for all those who brought you to this point. And that sense of care and compassion, that sense of curiosity to keep learning, and I can tell you for a fact, your dean, your vice president, to this day, keeps that spirit of inquiry alive. One of his proudest accomplishments is having publications year after year after year, and he does it to this day. Why? Because it's good for him as a physician, and it's good for his patients. That spirit of learning, that spirit of caring for others is something that's embedded in you, and take advantage of that. Now it's your turn to fly. It's your turn to take care of human beings. It's an important duty. It's an important responsibility. I know you're well prepared. I'm proud of each and every one of you. And I know that you're going to do to others what your profession has done for me. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Armacost. We now have a short video presentation of photos submitted by the class for viewing. Thank you all for participating in this celebration, especially those of you who are on through video link. This truly has been an extraordinary year, but you are an extraordinary class. I wish each of you professional success and personal happiness, and I hope that you too experience the enormous satisfaction and fulfillment that I continue to feel every single day I have the honor of putting on that white coat. Members of the class of 2021, doctors, please rise so that we can all celebrate your achievements. Congratulations.